Change of plans. Leave nothing alive.
Hello YouTube, Ike here, and today we're going to take a little bit of a different direction than what I usually been doing for the past few videos. So with the inclusion of this update, the Kome, the 5 Fates, there's been a lot of awesome and amazing things they've added to this game. However, there's a few things that in the community and I have personally agreed with, is that the Higasa is kind of bad. Yes, Kome's signature gun is really bad. And I say this because there's quite a few flaws that just hold it back. Personally, it's disappointing because when I heard that this thing was going to be like a gun shield thing, I was extremely excited. You know, it gave me certain vibes. It gave me the vibes of that one gun from that movie, The Kingsman. So good. I thought it was going to be so fun and usable and stuff. Nope. They fumbled the gun. They really fumbled it. This thing suffers from a few major issues. First is that it has no damage at all. In order to even get it to a usable state, you need to really invest in it. If this gun's just so bad, I didn't even bother like formatting the rest. I know I'd probably like put something like here, like shred or something, just to make it usable. But this needs this specific mod, which you can get from the event, which is cool and all, but you need this to even make it do what other guns can do. So it's just kind of, it's kind of trash, even especially with this 836 damage. Not to mention, the fire rate is abysmal, genuinely bad. I don't know why. Yeah, he has to have critical delay. I understand that, right? But even if you take it off, 2.5. That is still extremely slow without that crit mod. It is terrible how slow this gun actually is. Another issue is weapon has, right? Like, it has a bad primary fire because the primary fire doesn't do all that much damage. It doesn't do that much. It can be buffed with Deadhead. It can be buffed with like the Kavat. And it still wouldn't one-shot enemies. It doesn't. It just won't with a primary fire. You have to sit there and chip away with a slow fire rate with no punch through. To kill one enemy. It is just terrible for the kind of game this is. Now, to go to the other point I have, it's unique trait, right? The shield is nice and all. That's like the best part about this gun. Literally the only thing you use this gun for. But if you read it, the kill and block shots charge of beam to be released sucks, and I'm gonna explain that right now. I think it sucks because yes, the block shots are nice and all, that's cool, but the fact that you need kills to charge this beam when the gun is already with its primary fire is so weak that it really can't kill much very quickly, you're not really shooting a lot of this alternate fire, which is really the point of the damage I think it was supposed to be. So it really falls off compared to other guns. You can literally run any other bullet gun. That's not like, and I'm not even including like the guns, the AoE guns like the Brahma or the that one shotgun. I forgot its name on top of my head, but without even including those kind of guns that can just clear rooms with no problem. Any other bullet gun works. You can even run the freaking Vectis and it would do something better than this. Like, this thing, there's no point in running this gun at all. And it's not to mention, it has a pretty low, overall, pretty low stats for status and crit too. It's not very special in any regards. It's not special in anything actually, besides that shield. So it kind of feels like this gun is just here just to be here. And here's the kicker, right? The charge thing is supposed to be super powerful. It doesn't have any extra crit or status increases. Nothing. It's just there. Yes, the total damage is higher. I mean, it better be higher for having to charge this thing for like an hour, because you're going to be good luck trying to kill things and you have to be the one killing. And if you're in a squad with teammates, they're going to take all the kills and you'll never in your life actually get the alternate fire. It's barely usable when you're in solo, and it's even more useless when you're in groups where people are actually using things that kill, because this gun is not going to do any finishing kills. I promise you. Never in your life. So, this gun is just terrible overall. I really hate this gun. And I really wish I didn't, because I really like the concept of a shield in the gun. So, with that out of the way, I want to talk about now some other things. And I'm going to go over that here in a second. Alright, so now I want to talk about the potential changes that this gun can go if DE ever wanted to make this gun actually usable for players. DE, if you're watching this is what I personally think are some good changes that won't overly break the gun, but will make it so that the gun is a lot more fun to play at the very least, right? So there's two routes they can go here, right? They can either go with the option of fixing the primary fire and making that actually good, so that way you can actually get the unique trait for kills off more. Or they can go with the route of just making it prioritize the charge shot, which I think is probably the more fun way, I would say, of changing it. But for the first option, what they could definitely do is increase the fire rate, right? The fire rate is abysmal and it should be much faster for what it does. Personally, I think the damage number should be a little bit higher per shot, personally, just a little bit. Right? Or increase the status chance. So it could be more of a status-based weapon that so it can utilize more status effects, so it can fire off more. The magazines is pretty alright. Would make it even better is some innate punch through as well. Just to give it a little more oomph when it fires, so you're not like hitting one enemy at a time with 5 bullets that don't do much damage. Like I'll show you here. It's just disappointing. Alright? So this is without it starting off. It even has a buff from Tenacious Bond. This is its damage. And I'm mashing my gunfire button right now, right? You have to even land a headshot to even do anything. Look at that. The pet kills it for right hand. Right? Look at that damage. While having 2 stacks of primary deadhead. In 10 stacks of IRO. That's all it can do. It takes... These bullets aren't doing what they could be doing. And with multi-shot as well. Multi-shot buffs. Crazy. Look, and after killing these many things so far, killing half the guys being dead here, the beam still isn't even charged up. This thing is look, I finally got the beam, right? The beam would be so fun if it can be used more. I think that would make this weapon so much better, personally. So, but these how slow it is. Look how long it took me to kill just those like 20 enemies. 18 enemies actually, not even 20. It took forever because this thing just does not charge up fast enough. It doesn't ramp up good. So those changes, I think, that I mentioned, would help the primary fire and make it at least able to fire the beam a little more often, right? The second route they can go, which I think is probably the more sound route and funner route, would be to make the charge shot better. And how they can do that is make it able to activate more consistently and without needing to do kills. So just all they have to do is change the unique trait, so it'd make hits instead of kills. I'm hitting enemies and blocking shots from charge to the beam. That would make it so that you don't have to be the one doing the finishing kill in order to charge that beam, which means you could fire it more often, therefore actually getting kills in with it. That alone would make this gun so much better. Make it much more usable. You can run this. You wouldn't even need to run something like Shred anymore because you're just going off of hits. So you don't even need to mess with the fire rate, anything else. The prime fire could suck. But if the charge shot is good and it can come out consistently, the gun immediately becomes a lot better than it was. So, with that in mind, another thing they could do, right, is increase the crit chance more. A base crit chance for the charge shot only would make this gun really good, right? Make it so much like a sniper, like 150% when you have like the critical delay on it. It should not be still 72 after all that, because imagine you do that and you don't even get the crit. It just sucks. It would just feel really bad. So those are the improvements I think would make this gun usable much better, I think. Especially with the shield and all that. And I personally love this gun. Now I'm going to go over, if you still want to use this gun despite knowing how bad it is, I will tell you the kind of the good frames that would be needed for this. Alright, so to use this kind of weapon, a weapon that's kind of this weak, we would have really no use to use it, actually use it to kill. You can try to utilize its frontal shield, because the frontal shield is kind of nice. It's actually really the best part about this thing, because it has unlimited HP. You just block everything in front of you, which is good for frames that are caster frames that use their abilities to kill, and all they need to do is to try to stay alive. So for example, Protea can really utilize the shield. Let's unpause the AI, and let's do this, right? Dispenser. If you want to just camp a zone, and then just block all the damage, and then just watch it go, and then just go back to the shield, and then you watch, just let you can just block all the damage from one side, and make sure that you can just do this all day, and then watch them burn. And if you want a certain good build for this one, probably be like a status-based build that gives corrosive instead of viral. I actually kind of want viral anyway, so I guess just fire at them to increase the damage dealt to them. You could just do like that, hold it, fire at them a little bit, spread some viral around. This one I'd probably run the Nautilus if mine was actually working as intended. I don't know why my Nautilus doesn't work for me, but it's supposed to like group enemies for you. It doesn't really do that for me for some reason. It doesn't like to work. But go back to this. You run some. If you want to camp a room, this gun would be good for you. Right? Because they block all that damage. And then shield. You can keep yourself alive from frontal assaults. Spam stuff. And then just throw some viral on them. Just pepper them with viral. And look at that. And you're not like run down by a lack of shield. Or if Protea shields aren't really working for you, you get the shield from the front. You're invincible. It's decent, right? You can use it to camp. This weapon is a camping weapon. You literally only use everything that helps you camp. Same would go for Bobbin, for the most part. I guess, not really, but hey, something. I'm trying to think of other things you can give them. Other Warframes you could possibly give this to. Zaku, maybe? Like, Zaku, right? Zaku, I think, would work pretty well with this, admittedly. Too bad I don't get Protea out. Back in this loadout. But Zaku works too, because he can take weapons and then just camp with the shield, and he can have a way of surviving without worrying about getting blasted out of oblivion. So if the evasion isn't good enough, you can just run the shield without needing to really rely on anything else. It's a pretty good alternative to other guns, just for purely that regard. So with that, I hope that this video helped explain why this gun is bad. DE, if you're watching this, please buff this gun. It has such good potential. I'd really hate to see this gun just become mastery fodder. And with that, I hope all of you have a good day.